Good evening, fellas. So, my last drawing video, the one before the shitty Utao cover, I drew some of my characters as playing cards. I drew 2 of them, to be specific, but the original plan had been to draw 3, so I actually rolled 3 people to be drawn, and I had to cut one of the people for time, but the person who got cut from that video was Reagan, so I'm gonna draw Reagan this time. I'm drawing Reagan, like I'm drawing a card. It's funny. The fun thing about having less characters to draw is that I can probably afford more editing, since, less footage, less general tomfoolery, I guess. The original plan for this was to draw an additional character as well as Reagan, but I detested the way I drew Sam, so it's just Reagan for now. Like I said in my last playing cards video, I went into this with a few design specifications in mind. First of all, it has to majorly incorporate the color of the suit, so the color palette will include a lot of black for clubs and spades, and a lot of red for hearts and diamonds. Also, the suit itself will be a repeating element within the illustration, so for example here, his choker has a little heart on it. The buckles of his shoes are hearts, I made his tongue using a heart shape, and of course his eyes are heart-shaped. This is the case for all the illustrations, their eyes will always be whatever shaped, And those are the only rules. I guess there were less than I thought, but it gives me more time to talk about Reagan and what I did for Reagan and his design here. Unlike the last few of these that I did, Reagan doesn't wear the same outfit constantly. In fact, Reagan is the most stylish of my characters, which is super exhausting because I am not stylish, and it's so hard designing outfits for him. I went extremely feminine for him here because I thought it would be cute, and I was right. This is probably going to be an actual outfit for him, since going forward, I'm obsessed with it. I'd probably make it more gold though, since that's his normal color, not red. But yeah, I like this outfit a lot, and I like how heart-themed it is. I couldn't really switch up much on Kelly or Matthias's outfits because, again, they only wear one thing, but I could with Reagan, and so you can see I gave him that little pendant on his choker that I mentioned, the buckles of his shoes, and also for whatever reason I think that long red striped sleeves are super Valentine's-y, so that's another thing going for it in the hearts department. But really, this was fun to draw. It's super easy to make Reagan hearts-based because, and I can't believe I haven't mentioned this yet, but Reagan already is related to hearts. Hearts are his shape. You can see he's doing the heart thing with his hands, like with his fingers, because it's his shape. So the only thing I really had to change about him was making him more red than gold for this piece. So here's the thing. When I thumbnail for these pieces, I do 6 each for each piece. You can see some up here right now. These were Reagan's thumbnails. They're extremely shitty because they are thumbnails, but I just wanted to make the point that I typically end up going with whatever idea I originally had. You can see the pose I have here is very similar to the first one because typically when I do thumbnails, the one that I end up liking best is the one that I already had in my head. But I just wanted to make the point that, okay, so do you see this terrible drawing of Reagan? I didn't originally have that face in mind, but I thumbnailed it and I fell in love with it, and now I think the piece is better for having that facial expression. So that's a little life lesson there. Do thumbnails. They help. I didn't used to think that they did for some reason, which was a little strange and silly of me, I'll admit, but they do. So yeah, that's life lessons with Sherm. Also, just a side note, he looks kind of cat-like in this image, and I think that's kind of fun. I should lean into that a little more, into his cat eyes and his cat mouth. It's a design element I don't really explore with him that often. And I should, because it's cute, and I like it. Oh, I could have, I'm just now realizing I could have done, like, an upside-down heart for the cat mouth. I missed the opportunity to put more hearts into this illustration. That's kind of a bummer. Yeah, oh my god, that was a tangent. Oh my god, I didn't even mention why Reagan was the 3 of hearts. So Reagan is the 3 of hearts because he's technically the 3rd Pierce, and I already decided all the Pierces would be of the heart suit, and even if I hadn't, he'd definitely still be hearts. Are you kidding? If I didn't make him hearts, I think that would be a genuine, sincere regret. Like, I'd take that to my grave. 3 is also significant as a number to him because there are 3 people in his favorite band. And also, his name just reminds me of 3. There's no real reason for that. I just think the name Reagan and the number 3 have similar vibes. Reagan here is a lot smaller within the composition than Matthias and Kelly were. I also didn't really have a deep reason for this. I just thought it would look cute, and I also wanted to show off the outfit, and I would have berated myself if any of that got cut off by the card cutting company. So he's firmly within the safety square, and he kind of looks like he's floating or jumping. And I think his skirt is framed really nicely for whatever reason, so I just wanted to bring attention to that. So I really have nothing else to say about the actual structure of the piece, so I'm gonna move on to the coloring. Again, I wanted a mostly red color palette, and luckily red and gold just go hand in hand together. It's a really nice color palette, so I'm grateful for that. Thinking over all my selections for characters, I don't think there is a color palette that'll clash drastically. Like, blue and red goes pretty nice, pink and black, red and red. Yeah, nice. Okay, moving on. So, I just gave him a darker shirt because I felt like it would be a color that didn't clash with that golden red color palette. The shirt is actually a very dark rich gray, and then everything kind of came together from there. It was basically just repeating colors from the palette and putting them down in ways that would make sense. I don't know if the red buckles on the shoes make the most sense in the world, but I absolutely had to make them red because they were hearts, and I was just forced to do it. I had no other choice. You must understand this. I was a little concerned about his gold eyes because it was the only piece of gold that was actually on him, like on the design, but then I figured I could just make the background gold and that'd tie everything together. And at the end, it really did tie everything together, so I was pleased with how that turned out. I don't know if you can tell, but I really enjoyed how this image turned out. I think he's just so cute, and he's such a little man right now. He's literally just being a little man. Normally, I wouldn't call him a little man because that's only something I call people who I think are little, and Reagan is taller than me. But I like to think that in this picture, he's actually this size. You could just take him off the screen and hold him in your hand because he's a little man. You probably can't see the background just yet, but I'm going to talk about it preemptively. So I said in the last card video that I wanted the background to include the number of the card and the suit of the card. So for Reagan's, I wanted it to include 3 hearts, and I liked how I did that, but I realized it looked a little different from the other 2 cards I did because none of the hearts were coming out of the background, you know? Like, in Matthias and Kelly's cards, their symbols were coming a little bit off the cards, like the elements of their backgrounds were coming a little bit off the cards. And none of these hearts are coming out into the white with Reagan's card, which is a bit of an issue because despite the completely different compositions of all these cards, I still want them to be a little bit cohesive. So I just added some nice stripes that come off the card and called it a day. And I think it looks pretty nice. I made the background very textured and it's gnarly. Eventually you'll be able to see that. I've still got some stuff to talk about. So, here's a piece of news. I'm probably going to end the schedule. Like, I'm not going to upload videos every other week anymore. That doesn't mean I'm never going to make another video. I'm definitely going to experiment more with Utao covers, and I have a massive project in mind. And you just know I'm going to make a video about Disney Twisted Wonderland eventually. I've been talking about it basically nonstop. But I mean, I won't make any on a real schedule. So, you know, this will give me more time to focus on my comic and on doing things that I want to do creatively, because having to put all comic work and other types of things that I really want to focus on pause whenever I want to get a video out is not super productive. So now you can see the picture and you can see, you know, everything that's nice about the piece. I think I changed some things from when I recorded this. I don't know if I changed the lines of the choker before or after I finished recording this, but either way, I like him very much, and here he is. Anyways, I'm gonna go on a walk. It's super nice out, and I haven't been able to go on walks recently because of schoolwork, so see you in a bit.